Hey everyone, in this episode we'll be taking a look at the movie Alita, Battle Angel. We'll be exploring the characters, the visuals, and the story, all that and more in episode 120 of the Reel-ists Podcast. Reel-ists, welcome to this episode. I'm Oscar.
I'm Donnie.
And we have our producer Ruben here as well.
Hello.
He says hello. And welcome to this episode. If you're a first-time listener, welcome. We hope you enjoy this episode and encourages you to listen to our past episodes and our future episodes.
Hey.
We like to, say that our episodes are great. So all of them are worth checking out, even if you haven't seen the movie. At this point, if you haven't seen an older movie, just go listen to us.
Might as well.
You're not going to watch it. Let's be real here.
We'll give you our Cliff Notes version of it. What we thought about it.
It's been a while now. But yes, and then a few future episodes, watch them and then wait for our episodes. We'll give you plenty of time. Mm-hmm. So this episode is going to be on Alita. There's going to be a spoiler discussion. So if you have seen Alita, we hope you enjoy this conversation. If you have not seen Alita, we hope you enjoy this conversation. You're stuck in it.
Either way, you're going to enjoy the conversation.
You hit play, so you're in this. You're committed to the next couple of minutes. Few. I don't know what the total runtime is going to be, but whatever it is, that's your commitment. So, as always, we do want to just briefly mention that if you are listening to this episode, we highly would recommend giving us a rating on iTunes. You can definitely just give us 1 out of 5 stars, or not one.
Whoa. That's not what he meant, guys.
Don't give us a 1. Give us from a score of 1 to 5. You can rate that, or you can also leave a review with comments on feedback on our episode show. So we'd greatly appreciate that.
On our what?
On our episode show. That's what I meant.
Episode?
On our show. We greatly appreciate that. It just gives us an awareness of what the feedback we would get. So if you can, we greatly see now I'm moving on.
It's okay.
Greatly.
Take your time. It's all right.
But yeah, so on iTunes, if you do not use iTunes, that's okay.
Is it?
If you don't, just in case you're using listening to Spotify or Google Play or YouTube.
Exactly. We're everywhere.
Or
we out here.
Yeah, it's okay. It's all right. But so let's get down to this Alita Battle Angel. Donnie, start us off with your quick thoughts.
I was really looking forward to Alita for a long time, as you know.
Originally scheduled for December release.
Yeah, I felt like they kept pushing it back, and I was like, well, they only pushed it back once, but it felt like they pushed it back years and years. I felt like I've been watching this trailer for a year and a half, but I'm being dramatic, maybe, or maybe there is some truth to it. But I liked it. I thought it was really entertaining. I really was already. Even from the trailer, I knew that Alita was going to be a character that I liked and that I wanted to know more about her. Obviously, I wanted to know about the world and the time they were living in, but I really wanted to know Alita, and she seemed like a very young, sweet girl that had pure intentions, but could kill you if she needed to. So it's just something about those two kind of drastic ends of the spectrum coming together in within one person or one vessel was interesting to me. To know that she had a good heart and wanted to do right. Well, that was what I thought, and she did. For the most part.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just liked it, and I liked that we know more about her, and the world itself that they were in. So we're in this kind of, I think it was 25. The year was 25 something. It was hundreds of years after.
Yeah, deep in, yeah.
Yeah. So way in the future and after the fall, which, basically makes Earth look like this dystopian wasteland. And I was like, I feel like I've seen that before. It's kind of cliche. I was getting kind of Ready Player One vibes a bit with the environment kind of slightly, but I was able to look past that, and I think overall I did really enjoy this film, and I hope it continues to perform decent. I definitely hope it breaks even, but I want it to at least do better so we can at least get a sequel, because I would like to I would like to see how it finishes because it is unfinished. It sets us up for a sequel, but I don't know that we'll get it.
The story's not complete, yeah.
So
maybe not to get confused with the movie still has like unfinished editing.
Yeah, no. It's just the story it leaves us on like this like they want this to be a second
franchise,
a 2-part, maybe 3-part. I don't know, but they definitely want another film. So I need that. I want to see that. So I hope it just can do well enough at the box office for them to greenlight a second film.
Yeah, I think the trades were saying that it had to get 500 million to break even. So
yeah, and then there was one report that said it had to make at least 550 million, like at the highest.
Yeah,
so there's different numbers out there, but
right, it's a high number though. That is, and so far I think at the weekend debut, including the Thursday previews and Monday, I think it only got to like mid 40s. So. Yeah, not the best strong start. International though, it's doing good. So we'll see about that. But yes, Alita: Battle Angel. In case you are unaware of this movie, this is a movie about a deactivated female cyborg that is revived but cannot remember anything of her past life and goes on a quest to find out who she is. And this movie was directed by Robert Rodriguez. Stars Rosa Salazar. It stars Mahershala Ali and Christoph Waltz. Yeah, it was saying ... So I was like, who is this person? But yes, that is our movie here. Very similar to what you were saying, Donnie. I agree on many aspects of it. I do want to see this story completed. I want to know what happens. They left it at a little bit of a I would say unsatisfying in a way, because it was like, now that we saw who the threat was, that's when the movie ends. With that surprise cameo appearance by
Sam Rockwell.
No, I think it's Edward Norton, actually. I don't know. I think I saw two mixed things that were going on there.
Oh, really? I thought it was Sam Rockwell.
I thought so too, but I think I read somewhere it was not. Let me just quickly confirm this here.
Okay.
Dun 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 dun. Dun. Please hold. What's the? Please listen to this live elevator music presented by Donnie. All right. Yeah.
Oh, it is Edward Norton.
Edward Norton.
You're right. Wow.
Yeah, we were thinking Sam Rockwell at first.
Wow. That's wow. Now I have a whole completely different view on the film.
Oh my god.
And his like 2 seconds of appearance at the end there.
So, yeah. So as I was saying, that it really was one of those that it was unsatisfying in a way, because you finally got to where it was getting good, where she had like this goal in mind, and that's where the movie concludes. So I do want to see where this goes off. I will say there were sequences that was losing interest in the movie a little bit toward in the middle. I don't like that they killed the dog, which I found out was a cyborg dog. So I was content.
Wow.
That it wasn't a real life dog. I do want to live in this world, because if you can have a cyborg dog, so you should not have any issues with like them dying,
true.
From age. So yeah, but no, it really has
like Axel.
Yeah.
The movie Axel.
Dang, I forgot about that movie. We covered that movie too.
Yeah, we did. Check it out if you haven't heard it.
There you go. So I know, clearly I forgot about it. But yeah, no, I really did like I did like Alita. I really felt like she was a very interesting character, and it happened naturally. Like you get her introduction, and of course, she has that innocence because she doesn't remember who she is, but you grow to care for her in the short amount of time, and I think that was excellent to have that really well established. Her friend, who was kind of like on the playing evil but didn't want to, kind of was like tied hands and stuff. That character, I didn't get the love interest of that. Like, to me, that wasn't working, but it was kind of being forced to us of like, oh no, they like each other. Everyone, like, pay attention. They're liking each other. But yeah, so overall, I think it was satisfying. The visuals were really great. Like the dystopian environment was really well done. A lot of the computer or the CGI, but like the cybernetic like parts and stuff, I thought were very well done, from like the bad guys to like the what were they called?
The Hunter Warriors?
Yeah. The one that were the one that were looking for people specifically. Yeah, those really well done. I really liked it. I think visually it was a really good movie, and I think if anything, you should see it just for the visuals. And you'll probably fall in love with Alita as a character. You probably would support her and root for her, and be excited for her when she is like so brave and wants to fight, which was pretty awesome. Really cool character development for her.
Mm-hmm. And I did like the visuals. I agree, were really, really well done, and I liked that. We were kind of watching Space Jam last night, and we were kind of talking about sometimes it's weird when you have like CGI characters or animated characters interacting with like real life characters in the same scene, and how sometimes it doesn't always like mesh well or whatever. I guess it's a little different. That was more so animation and real people. This was more like CGI, and well, it was CGI.
Right.
But I feel like Alita, as she did, I mean, you could tell there was CGI done, but she still looked, in a weird sense, very human-like.
Yeah, and the eyes were natural. Like, they didn't distract you. Like,
yeah, it wasn't distracting ever. Maybe some of the evil like cyborgs. I mean, those were like, oh, you could just like, there was not that the one in particular, like the first when she discovered that the Ido was a hunter warrior and she went to interfere.
Yeah.
And it was like that one woman
with
her
like
whole body
blades,
was like blades and scissors. That was like, okay, that totally looks CGI, but it was fine. It was cool, and we knew
you can tell it was CGI, but it wasn't bad CGI.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what you're saying. Yes.
But Alita, I think she was the main star of the film, so they had to make sure she was like solid, like her look and the visuals, and I feel like she was. I thought she looked really dope. Like I
really do like the chest, when you can tell like it was like the flesh, and then it would go to like the parts, and how it was like a nice realistic blend. It wasn't like you can clearly tell that's where, you know, the green screen of their costume or the uniform and stuff ended. It really was a natural like transition. Mm-hmm. And I really did like the visuals on her like body, because it looked realistic, like she was an actual robot. It didn't look like this was an actress in a motion capture suit. This looks like this was an actual like robot you can believe was on set filming to some degree. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I agree. The eyes were it was a choice to stick close to the source material for that, so it was respecting that. And neither of us have read the manga, so we'll just throw that out there.
And I think in the manga she was more she was more like, it seemed like she was more like different parts put together. Like in this film, it looked more cohesive. It looked more like it was a one functioning, especially when she got that second suit or that second body, it was one functioning thing. Whereas the other one in the manga, it looked like it was more tinker, like all these little pieces and screws and bolts, and it was kind of like a makeshift body.
Which would make sense, because she was found with just the head, and no one would have like a whole like set a body without the head. Like that seems a little too unrealistic. So yeah, I could see how that would work. And I actually, now you point it out, it kind of is interesting that we really didn't get that, like, oh, this person was actually, you know, found it and actually try to put it together with what they had, rather than, oh, they were waiting for this one day to find someone with a robot with a head that functions still.
Yeah. So
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I did like most of the characters in their own ways. Like the Doctor, not Ivo. Ido. I don't know why I said Ivo. That's DC. Dr. Ido, I liked him. I didn't think, like, to me, I didn't at any point think that he was a bad character or he was, you know, taking advantage of the situation. I really felt like he was a parent, a loving guardian, as soon as he found her. So I had that comfort, and I'm glad that they didn't do any twist. I mean, I'm sure if I would have read the manga, though, I would have known if there was any twist. But unlike the boyfriend, who I really to me, it wasn't working. Like, he was just too conveniently, like, getting along with her and accepting her and falling in love with her, and I just wasn't seeing any reason. And probably the biggest thing is, he knows that she is a cyborg, so it's not like, he's thinking, oh, you're a real human the entire time, and so this movie never really sets this place that cyborgs and humans like fall in love together or like can be together. It always just made it seem like, the humans are here in this wasteland and they're just, struggling to survive. So I don't know. I just don't know how that would work. And to me, that I feel like if the movie could have been a little bit better if the focus wasn't trying to build this relationship as a love interest. It would have been fine as friends. I think that probably would have been a bigger impact to find out that, he, to some degree, was, a traitor.
Yeah, I don't think it would have hurt the film at all if they had made their relationship strictly platonic,
right?
And
Hugo,
not tried
the
to,
character.
Yeah, Hugo. I mean, it didn't bother me that they were trying to make a romantic spark between them,
but
and it kind of makes,
It doesn't make sense. A cyborg and a human.
That's that old way of thinking, Oscar. Oh. Jeez. But no, I mean, it makes sense, like, I guess on her end, if she was wanting to... And see, here's another thing. If she was, like, longing for, to know what it means to be human and was like, oh, I just want to be, I just want to feel mortal and feel like a person and not like a robot or a cyborg, that would make sense.
I get it. Because they do say that it is an intact human brain. Or right. It's very close to a human brain that they can get. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, I don't know. It didn't bother me that they were trying to make that relationship happen, and I was into it, and I was rooting for them. But I think they could have kept the same level of like interest in each other, and the whole like wanting to sacrifice for one another, and all those good qualities and aspects of their relationship. They could have easily just kept it like platonic and kept it a really just deep friendship and a deep bond that they formed.
I feel like that would have just worked.
I feel like it would have been the same thing. Like it wouldn't have changed the story. So,
right. I could see because they try to make it emotional with that when her finding out and the saying goodbye at the end, like all that. They try to give you that emotional punch. Mm-hmm. Maybe it was too soon. Maybe they made that choice too soon. If they were, I mean, I get it. Put all your marbles in the one.
Yeah, they're like, this may be our only shot. We got to just throw it out there. It.
I totally get that. But yeah, no, it was very, very odd. To me, I could understand her eating. I was like, okay, to some degree, I can accept that. But
see, now we get into like these questions, like where does the food go? How does it digest?
Exactly.
Because he's saying, your brain needs the nourishment and the sustenance. So it's like, okay, your brain takes what it needs, but then where does everything else go?
Right.
Does it get filtered out in some way?
Right.
Like
it's like they trying to make it seem like she's just any girl, but at the same time we know she's not. So, and then we're not here asking for a psychoanalysis on what it means to be a human, but they're giving us the little things here that brings up the question, does she poop? Does she have like those human emotions? Because I don't know, like that all that does come from the brain, but does she have that human heart? All that stuff, like, and it's more than just a brain that plays a part.
Or like even, I mean, yeah, does she get hungry? Like she shouldn't get hungry if she doesn't have a stomach.
Yeah.
Right? But did she say that she was ever hungry in the film? I felt like at one point there was like, she was like, can we, or maybe she just wanted, I think she said, can we get chocolate? But because she tasted chocolate.
Right. And she liked
it. So it's like, okay, so she can taste, like, so is her whole head human? Because where they're saying it's just the brain, but is it her whole head? Because if she can taste, if she has taste receptors, you know, it's like these specific questions that I do. I mean, maybe we're just looking too much into it, but these questions do arise. Or when they were having this kind of romantic moment, and he was like, "Can you feel that?" And she was like, "Yeah." Like he was like caressing her robotic arms. So I'm like, "Can she feel sensation somewhere else?" Like, I want to know.
I feel like I understood the premise of it about like she's as close to as a human you can get, built from start up. But I don't know. I feel like they try to focus on the other aspects of it. And to me, it wasn't clicking. It was like starting to become like, okay, this is a little too unrealistic. I can understand if she was originally part human and then she had to become a cyborg for whatever reason. Mm-hmm. All right, I can swallow, the belief of that. but yeah, but it's just like the brain. That's the only thing that's human. But yeah, she has taste receptors. She, with all these things that I feel like it would have been easier if they just didn't try to give us that. Like, what if they had just primarily focused on her, trying to find out who she is or where she comes from, and all that information. I think that this movie would have been just a little bit stronger than trying to give us that, like, she's just like us, she's a human angle. At least in this movie, I think maybe that could have grown, like in the sequels where she was curious to what it means to be a human. But I don't know.
Yeah,
it just didn't click for me for most part.
Okay.
So Mahershala Ali does play the villain, and I was underwhelmed by his character. I felt like
there wasn't much.
Didn't provide, like, they tried to establish him as this threat, but I never got the threat. It was just always like, oh, he's just someone that just happens to be put in charge and can say commands.
He was not. He's not the ultimate threat. So that's why it's like the ultimate threat was Ed Norton, who we didn't see until the very end of the film. We saw like 2 seconds of him.
Yeah, and the thing is that they didn't give us this feeling of he is the threat, and then be like, oh, you actually were never the threat. It was always this guy. It was always just like, oh, this is someone that clearly hates you, Alita, and is trying to take you down or trying to collect your reward, whatever.
His name is Vector.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's like, and the ultimate threat would like possess Vector and talk through him in some of the scenes. So it's like we weren't even. It wasn't even coming from Vector himself. It was coming from his higher up, who was really running the whole show. So it's like, I feel like, I mean, it was great to see Mahershala Ali, and I think they wanted a familiar face to draw on some more crowd, but it didn't need to be him. Like, there wasn't anything there wasn't anything. They didn't need a specific actor. Like, oh, we have to get Mahershala Ali to portray this character. It has to be him. It could have been anybody.
It could have been like as equivalent to like any of the other cyborg bounty hunters. Like, it did not have to. I felt like casting him, I was expecting to get some big character arc, or like why is he hating, why is he hating on Alita, what's his purpose and stuff, but it was just like a pawn, and I just felt like it was a wasted opportunity to get something really good from that kind of actor.
And even Jennifer Connelly, like,
oh yeah,
she was just the ex-wife, and we wanted to we wanted to feel some kind of sympathetic emotion because her and Ido lost their daughter, and she was kind of got caught up in this whole on the dark side of this world, and and she wanted to get out at the end, which I think ultimately we're supposed to. I mean, I think she died. I think like there is no way out. Like, once you're in it, you're in it. Because she tried to leave Vector's quarters, and then we saw like a cyborg like getting ready to kill her, I think, when she was trying to leave. So it's like, but I say that to say I don't even feel like Jennifer Connelly was necessary for that role either.
Right.
Like, I think the only ones you really needed to focus on were Alita and Ido, because they had they were like the start of this whole thing, and they had to have this kind of paternal, like, father-daughter relationship, and you wanted some emotion there. But Mahershala Ali as Vector and Jennifer Connelly, they just weren't necessary. They weren't bad to see. We know who they are. They're familiar faces and they're good actors, but it's not like they had this great like script material to work with for their characters.
They didn't have material to really have a presence, and so when they were killed, it was just more of like, all right. Yeah. Okay. All right. Your screen time is done. Your paycheck's given.
Right. Exactly.
So that was one of those unfortunates, which I don't know, again, if maybe this is like cut down, like maybe they had their roles cut down and there's a lot of things in the editing room still from them, but
sure.
Yeah, it's one of those, what was their intention? And I don't know if it like, how would have been a difference if it would have been just another actor playing that wasn't a big name. So
yeah,
I know you can put him on the posters, but I feel like if you put him on the posters, you should give him a good role, give him something good that they can deliver. I don't see this movie as one of those movies that come to mind when I think of Mahershala Ali, to be like, oh yeah, check out this movie if you want to see him. Like plenty of other movies you can think of. So that was unfortunate, but visually, I think the visuals were really the standout of this, obviously on Alita, but just overall in the surrounding areas, the environment, motorball, the sports that they play in this. I felt like it just, a lot of it was as good as it can be. It wasn't like hyper realistic where you were just like, oh my gosh, I can see this happening in the future. But at the same time, it wasn't like, oh, I'm watching a video game or I'm playing a video game kind of CGI. It was really good quality, and I thought it was all around is what makes this movie appealing. And I think it's the reason that you probably should see this movie alone. There's just so much that it has to do CGI, and I can see maybe why they pushed back, because originally it was intended to be a July 2018 release. So you were right. I think it has been pushed back a few times, and then it was pushed to December, and then pushed to February. So I think that it was well done. I don't think there's probably a scene or two that you probably can nitpick and be like, oh, well, that one looked just a little bit off, but I think overall, I think it was solid visually. Yeah,
which I wouldn't expect from. I would only expect that because James Cameron was a part of it too. So it's like, and not Steven Spielberg, but I kept accidentally saying. But you know,
which he was Ready Player One. So look at you and your similarities.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, like even Ready Player One was really good visually as well. But that one intentionally was trying to look like a video game. So
yeah,
it was a different angle.
Had so much going on.
Yeah, so much.
Which was great. It worked. If you didn't see if you didn't check out our episode on Ready Player One, check that episode out as well.
There you go. Look at this. First time listeners, you have more episodes to go listen to.
Yeah.
So yeah, was there any particular standout scene that you enjoyed from this movie?
The whole movie was really fun. I really liked the scene when. Probably the standout scene is when her and Hugo went into that hunter warrior bar to ask for their help to take down Grukashu or whatever his name was, and they were pretty resistant at first, and she basically got into a fight with everybody in that bar. I think visually that was just like really fun to watch and really cool to see. And we get to really see the possibilities of Alita and what she can do with her body and how much of a weapon she is. So that was really fun. And that was probably my favorite scene to watch. I also felt really sentimental when she goes to Hugo's where he lives at, where he was sleeping, and then she's like basically saying like, I'll give you, you can have my heart, you can sell it. And she like pulls her heart out.
Yes.
And I'm like, what a physical, like blatant in your face representation of just, you know, how I just feel like how good of a spirit she was. And she like connected with Hugo and she was willing to give him his heart.
Yeah.
Literally and figuratively speaking. But, you know, it's kind of corny, I guess, to some people, but I really like that one scene too. So yeah, those two.
No, yeah, I think the bar scene and which leads to the underground. Are you talking about like the entire?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, the entire sequence. I agree was my entertaining scene. I just liked the fight. I really liked the fight, and I liked her attitude when it came to fighting. It wasn't I can beat you. It was I'm confident to stand up against you.
Her line in that scene, I will not. What'd she say? I will not.
I don't remember the line.
She said, I will not stand by in the presence of evil or something like that. It was something very like just badass. And it was like, you know, it's not coming from a cocky place. It's not coming from like, I can defeat you. It's like, I will not watch and stand by when there is like evil in my presence and there's an evil threat and I can do something about it. So I loved that. I mean, when she said it, it's just like, and it's in the trailer too. So I think it's just like we just know that she's like she will not tolerate this.
Yeah,
and I love it. And she don't tolerate it.
She don't. And she fought to the very end. She was like, I have no other like body parts except my hand here, but here's this one punch and boom.
Take your eye out.
Yep, that was pretty cool. Very awesome. Yeah, like the climax was a little lackluster. The little nice like, oh, here's another big name actor playing a villain, and that's going to be in the sequels. That was a nice tease, and I think that leaves you on a good note that you're just like, okay, I do want to see where the story goes. But yeah, I think that scene in the middle and the bar and the underground underground area was really, really good. The motorball environment, I think when they were playing it, the sport actually looked pretty fun to play. Obviously, I don't know if I would want to, given like how aggressive it is. It's like football without.
It's like rugby, football.
Rugby probably.
Like all this.
And
it's too aggressive.
Exactly. But it was cool to see. It was nice to see that on the screen. So, with all that being said, Donnie, what is your score for Alita?
I'm gonna give Alita a 4 out of 5. I thought visually it was really beautiful, really just so pleasing to watch. I thought it was engaging and interesting. Alita, being the standalone character here, the star of the film. I thought she was really likable, and I think she just was very inspiring and motivating. And we know it's like a made up world, but it's like even you get so lost in it, and it becomes so believable at times. And I just love that when a movie can just draw you in, especially in a movie like this where it's sci-fi and it's like or hundreds of years away. It's not realistic, but they make you feel like it's realistic, and I really appreciate that. To the director and the producers and the visionaries that create this world, and I really just respect it, and I really liked it. I feel like people should see it. It's a good one. I know it's getting mixed reviews. It doesn't have like the highest Rotten Tomato score right now, but I think it's just a really fun film, and I can't say more about it. I'm not giving it a higher score because some of the other characters that just didn't really seem to do much, didn't add much more depth or layers to the story overall. But that's forgivable. And I really just hope that we can get a second film so we can get a conclusion to the story, so we can go up to what's the place called? The place in the sky that they're trying to get to the whole time. I forgot
the name, but yes.
Just so we can get up there and see what it's like.
I know. That's kind of tough because they set it up. They didn't show any part of it up in
Salem
in that area. Mm-hmm. So your own little creative mind start kicking in. And now it's like we'll see if it like meets up to like everyone's own expectation.
Yeah,
because they made it sound like it's an excellent place to be.
Right, but we don't know.
And we don't know. Yeah, if it's like maybe not as great, and that's why they don't have many people going up there. But yeah, no, my score for this film is going to be 3.5. out of 5. I thought it was a solid entry, a solid good start for this franchise if that's what it becomes. Mm-hmm. I do think the visuals is the number one thing that you really can appreciate from this movie, and I think with James Cameron and Robert Rodriguez, they've done similar things to this, and they know how to create it and how to make it enjoyable and appealing to the eye. And yeah, I thought the CGI on Alita and on the other cyborgs, I thought they were really good. I feel like that was an excellent point. Alita, the character herself, very lovable character to support and root for, and I think that she really carries this movie in a manner that you're okay with her not being the like, I'm trying to think of the word, like she's not like an iconic figure or a superstar or something to that degree where you're just like, I'm following because I the status of this person, but just more of the natural like growth that you have with her. I think it works really well. Mm-hmm. The supporting cast, yeah, you kind of mentioned as well. Unfortunately, not all the characters worked out, and I feel like that kind of brought this movie down as well. The one, as I mentioned, the Hugo relationship with her, the love interest, I think that really just it didn't take me away from the movie. I just knew that doesn't have any significant goal for these characters, because you could have still had the same relationship with them as great friends. Like being romantically involved, I just felt like wasn't needed. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think overall, I think it was solid. There were some parts, the pacing that I would say, there were some issues where you were just like, we're almost halfway in and we still don't have like that drive of like where we're gonna go for the second half. So there was some parts of it that I kind of can see where it was breathing just a little too much and trying to let things happen naturally. If this was a miniseries or like on TV or something, I can definitely say that pace that they had was excellent. But as a movie, I felt like they needed to kind of establish that goal fairly early, and it took a while for them to establish what they were going to do with this movie. Mm-hmm. So Yeah, 3.5 is my score for this movie, but
Okay.
solid entry. And I do want a sequel, Alita Battle Angel 2.
There we go.
I'll watch them come up with some clever Alita 2 battle or something.
Throw a 2 in there.
Right. To Alita Battle Angel. So yes. Hopefully everyone has seen the movie and let us know what you think. You can always follow us on social media at Team Reel-ists, Team REELISTS. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. You can also follow us on YouTube, and you can comment on our videos there, so that way we can see your feedback. But yeah, definitely let us know what you think about this movie. If it is a good entry, if you didn't like it, if you loved it, where your status is for that movie. I'm done. That's
It's all right.
It's over. Episode's over, guys. What are you still here for? Just kidding. But yes, thank you everyone for tuning into this episode. We hope you enjoyed it.
See you later.